One, two, one, two. Welcome again to another episode of Sneaks Rhymes in Life. I am your host, Lionel McDonald. So we are, as we've already now been in 2023, we have talked a lot of obviously things, highlights of the year and variety of different things. But what we are going to do is a top five of five different topics relating to things that involve this podcast. So we're going to do some sneakers, we're going to do hip hop, and also some life and sports things that have kind of happened over the course of the 365 days that ultimately made 2022 the year that it was. So we have started this year and trying to bring some brands to light. We had most recent episode we did Hoop Queens. Again, shout out to Megan and Kessa and Squad that are doing great things. But today's episode will be sponsored by none other than yours truly, Sneaks Rhymes in Life. So we're in the process of, and I threw it out on the gram earlier this week, but we are in the process of creating merch. So I got on today. I got the demo hat on. I have the demo hoodie on right now. There are going to be t-shirts available for sale in the near future. That is my dog Rosie that is whining in the background. So may have to take a pause to let her out and go pee, but let's keep it moving just for a second here. So there is merch. It's going to be available. You'll see it on the gram. It'll be very exciting to kind of get the brand out. There's been so many people that have helped support Sneaks Rhymes in Life as we're coming up now. And unbelievably, it's been 2 years since this podcast actually started. And really thinking about, the time that it takes, the topics to craft, everything from my brother-in-law that's helped to create the theme song, to my wife who's done the artwork that is currently on the hat that I'm wearing and the sweatshirt. Much appreciated to everyone that has ever listened. The thousands of people that have listened to this podcast over the last 2 years. We're well over 100 episodes, and I will take a step back at some point, but there's just so many other good topics to talk about. We will celebrate and commemorate what has been 100 episodes, which is hard to believe. And I don't know if in my wildest dreams did I think that there would be 100 episodes of this podcast. It was a weight for me to um just release some stress, some thoughts, so have some fun. As Toronto, when in 2021, when I started this podcast in Feb of that year, was in its third lockdown. I believe it's the third one, and it was kind of demoralizing. It literally happened, started as I was trying to we were working through the holidays, and we shut down again. And at work they ultimately, actually, maybe it was the second lockdown, because then we opened for like a month in March, and then closed again in April and didn't open again until June. So yeah, definitely was the second lockdown that we had. And I remember I was just scurrying back from Jamaica, as I just buried my late father in 2020, and Toronto went into lockdown, but then Durham and many other parts of the city was not open, or was still open. And then everything kind of shut down on Christmas Eve, and then there was no Boxing Day. So full circle, unbelievable Boxing Day that my organization Foot Locker had, along with a variety of other retailers out there. So things are getting better. It's great to see things, although COVID and the flu and all these other viral diseases are still out there, but we're kind of in a better place. So but yeah, so there's a couple different pieces that will be part. There's definitely a hat as I'm wearing it. There's definitely a hoodie that will be continue to be created and will be available. T-shirts, two types: center logo as well as small logo, like almost like on a Nike t-shirt or Adidas t-shirt, an OG one. And then there's also a crew neck. So Sneaks Rhymes and Lock is although the topics are gray and there's always lots of color, we're sticking with black and white. for the winter time, and then eventually in spring we'll hopefully, if things take off, and fingers crossed that it does, we'll move into some fun spring colors and other prints. But let's start slow. Let's see how it goes. um Hit me up in the DMs. Again, Sneaks Rhymes of Life is available on all podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, however you consume your podcast. It's also available on YouTube, so you definitely see this and the merch and get a feel. The material is great. Hat, do like, for those that have big heads and aka big craniums like me, or a lot of hairs, my hair would literally be off the screen at this point. The hat fits actually really well, so hopefully many people get a chance to have a look when it's all online, and support, and hopefully this will lead to a little something that people continue to support the podcast in a new, a different way in 2023. But as we kind of talk about the topics that we have, so we definitely got sneakers, we definitely got albums, and a few other joints. So let's just get it right into it. So top 5 sneakers for 2023, and we're not going to go in an order. I may tell you my favorite, and we'll just kind of let it roll and see what it looks like. So a couple honorable mentions that I have, before we kind of get in, before we get too deep. That Concepts Air Max 1 that looked like it would had so many different materials on it. That is maybe the best Air Max 1 outside an OG that I've ever seen in my entire life. So that definitely is honorable mention. My personal list, it isn't on there. The OG Chicago, or OG, some people call it the Chicago. There's a white and red one they technically called the Chicago, but the OG 2 that launched at the end of the year, Jordan 2, as we're talking, honorable mention, not on my list, but then definitely needs a shout out. All the heads that definitely got a chance to get it, that's definitely there. Also, year 2022 was the year of the 2 in many aspects, and a variety different came out. The MM Year Jordan 2, beautiful material, definitely on the list. So that one definitely needs to be mentioned.